Alright, hey guys, this is Maros TCG and I'm back with another video. So with this video, these are like the final cards for Dimension of Chaos. And again, thank you for Yugioh News TCG, um, for making this a clear visual because the way it was originally presented, it was they were just kind of holding up the cards. And I thought this would be a nicer way of showing you guys as we go through the effects. So yeah, all of these cards, they're not. I'm pretty sure none of them are like associated with the direct archetype. They're just either general support or just like random cards that you can just implement into decks. Probably would be better in just like those what is it, like those pack formats where you just open. I forgot the name of the format, but it's where you just open packs and then use that whatever you get there and make a deck out of it. But yeah, let's see. So here we have MidDay Sentinel. So it's this guy, looks like in a snowy area. So you can set this card from your hand to your spell and trap card zone as a spell card. So that's interesting, similar to artifacts. During the standby phase of the next turn, after this set card was destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon this card. Then destroy all cards your opponent controls in the same column as it. Interesting. So, okay. So it looks like so during the standby phase, so after it's destroyed and sent to the grave. During the standby phase, you can bring it back and then destroy all cards your opponent controls in the same column as it. So it looks like it doesn't. You get to choose after it's destroyed, if that's the way I'm understanding it. Because it's just saying that when it's special summon, you can special summon it. Yeah, and then you get to choose the column and just pop that. That's interesting. Of course, like I'm guessing the way for this to be implemented is that that the set card would be when you just place it in the spell and trap card zone, and then it gets destroyed either through like the same way you would destroy your own artifact scythe, or your opponent is baited into destroying it. And yeah, looks like it's an interesting card. I don't think it's gonna get too much play in it, but if you pull this card and you're like just playing around with cards, this could be a fun one to use. Here we have Mare of the Shore. So each effect once returned. If this card is normal or special summon, you can send one aqua monster from your deck to your grave. So that's a cool effect. That's a cool effect. It's just a foolish burial effect implemented into this aqua monsters, so you can send like a toad, I guess, if you wanted to. And then there's other aqua monsters that like have benefits from going to the grave. So that seems pretty interesting. It's definitely gonna. I think this card will definitely see some play just for this aspect. Depending on like if the deck doesn't need the normal summon. And then during your end phase, you can tribute this card, then target one aqua monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. Yeah. So it's just recycling. So you could basically just ditch a card, and then during the end phase, ditch this card, and then add that card to your hand. So it just like searches out any aqua monster. Could be interesting to play. Yeah, I can see it having some potential, definitely. And then here we have a Yamatako Orochi, which is a level 1 Water Sea Serpent Tuner. If you use this card on the field as a synchro material, you can treat it as a level 8 monster. So that's interesting. And a synchro monster that uses this card as a synchro material gains one of these effects based on its original level. So if it's a 8 or less, it gains 800 attack or defense. If it's 9 or more, if it attacks a defense position monster, it gives it piercing. Yeah, not gonna be super relevant, I don't see. Unless there's like some like later in the future, there's gonna be ways to exploit this. Then I could see it doing something, but I think for the time being, it's not gonna really achieve much. Just gonna be a nice, cute card to have. Here we have Entombing Casket Sarcophagus, which is a level 4 Dark Zombie. When this card is destroyed by battle with an opponent's monster, you can take control of that opponent's monster, and if you do, that monster becomes zombie type, and its defense and its attack and defense each become 0. That's pretty cool. That's an interesting effect. You're just taking control of your opponent's monster, and then what is he holding here? He's holding some sort of a. Oh no, he's just okay. I see. He's holding this and this. Okay. But yeah, it looks like this will just be, it's not going to be super effective to use like in actual duels, just because you do need a you need to hope that your opponent fights into it. which a lot of people just kind of pop monsters before they even fight them. But you know, occasionally you'll be able to take them. And then when a zombie monster you control is destroyed by battle with an opponent's monster and this card is in your grave, you can banish this card from the grave. Take control of that opponent's monster, and if you do, that monster becomes zombie type. So that effect is more interesting. Yeah, because your zombie monsters are essentially, yeah, I mean that could be really nice. So I haven't played like much zombies, but I'm assuming that there's a lot of ways to get the cards into the grave. So you can just ditch this card into your grave, and then once it's there, you kind of have a protection in the sense that just from battle, where there, you know, your opponent won't really want to battle into one of your monsters if they see this in the grave. You can just take their monster and make it effectively useless, which is pretty cool that, you know, it's turning them into zombies. Interesting card, and I think the second effect will definitely make it see some play. And the first effect here, it's not as relevant, and it wouldn't be like useful on running on its own. But if you have a bad hand and you just set this card, occasionally you're gonna be able to do some things with it. So that could be interesting to see. Here we have a Reactor, annulus. So you can only activate one card with this card's name once per turn. You can attach one Exceed material from a card you control. Then, if that attached material was sent to the grave, you can set it to your field. So it's just a way to get back to your material. I don't know if it'll be worth. Yeah, because detach one. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you'd want to use this. Maybe like some specific decks are able to actually utilize this, but you're not even able to use your Exceed monsters detach effect. It looks like you have to detach. You know, you have to detach one Exceed material from it in order to use this effect, and then you get that. It's basically like you get that monster back, but it's set, so you don't even get to use it again. You have to wait it out. So I don't see this card being used a lot. Maybe some decks that don't mind having their cards set. Maybe like I don't think Paleo would run this though. But you know, a cards that doesn't mind like having their things set. Wouldn't mind having wouldn't mind this, but I don't see this card being used too much. Maybe there's ways to abuse this that you guys can tell me, but I don't see anything. Here we have Dream Pillow Parasomnia, which is an equip spell. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn. During the end phase, you can activate this effect, destroy the equipped monster. Okay, so you can just equip this to your opponent's monster, and then you know, it'll destroy it. If this card is sent to the graveyard as a result of the equipped monster being destroyed, you can special summon one Parasomnia token with the same original type, attribute, and attack as that monster that this card was equipped to, then equip this card to that token. So, I mean, unless you have like monsters that you want to like, you know, maybe you want to like pop your own monster and be able to just, you know, trigger its effect while using this to get a token out. Even though it's during the end phase, this is pretty much going to be happening. This could be useful. I could see it like having some gimmicky plays. I think it's good to have like random cards like this exist though, just because people can get creative and find ways to utilize them. And it's always nice to have like a big toolbox of cards for people to play around with. But yeah, that seems interesting at the very least. So here we have Pawn Shop Ledger Book, which is a normal trap. You can target up to 2 monsters your opponent controls, banish them until the end phase, and your opponent gains 1,000 life points for each card removed from the field by this effect. So, I mean, that's interesting. You can just use it to banish their monsters. This could be a good way to like protect yourself. You know, if you're about to be killed, you can just use this, banish them for a little bit, and then, you know, you save yourself for the turn. Or you can use it during your turn, banish them, and then you can attack their field if those are the only 2 monsters, or if you can deal with the other monsters. So it's definitely an interesting card. I think, again, this would work better in like one of those formats, or restricted formats. But I think it's an interesting card to exist, and it's definitely usable. Just doesn't seem like the greatest card to have out there, but it's definitely a card that you can play with. And here we had Vivid Tale, and there's IP Masquerade right there, which they love using in like we're seeing a lot of IP, which is cool. So you can only use either this card's name one or second effect once per turn, and only once that turn. So you can only use one of their effects. So you can target one card you control, return it to the hand. So this is essentially a compulsory, but for any card. So in case you want to like reuse it, okay. And if this card is in your graveyard, you can target one face-up card you control. Set this card on your field, but banish it if it leaves the field. And if you do, return that face-up card to the hand. You cannot activate cards or effects of cards with the same name of the card returned to the hand for the rest of the turn. So it just says you can target one face-up card you control, and then you set this card back, but banish it when it leaves. And if you do, you bounce that card back, but then you're not able to use its effect. So it's just this effect basically, but a more restricted version of it since it's in your grave. But yeah, unless there's like the thing is about this card is that it is nice to be able to bounce your own cards, but you're gonna have to be you're not gonna be able to utilize them right away because of this effect at the end, but also because it's a trap and it'll mean that you have to wait. And most card effects are kind of restricted to once per turn either way, like by name. But if they don't, then this could be interesting to run. But yeah, let's keep going. So here we have what I think is the most interesting monster out of the lot. We have Secretory Musamari, which requires 2 level 6 monsters. And at the start of your opponent's battle phase, activate this effect. You roll a 6-sided die, and you assign the next 6 main monster zones on either field from the perspective of this card that is in a main monster zone, a number from 1 to 6 clockwise, and then you move this card into the zone as assigned to the number of die roll results. If there is a monster in the zone this card is about to move into, attach it to this card as material. And if it is an exceed monster, transfer its material to this card as well. And then if this card has 6 or more materials attached this way, you win the duel. If this card cannot move into a zone, or if there is a monster in the zone it is about to move into and it cannot attach to that monster as a material, send this card to the grave. So it might be confusing at first, but this will make it clear. So basically, you're going through clockwise position, and so let's say you have your what's his name, Musamari right here. Then you would start clockwise here, counting from 1, 2, 3, and then you just continue the numbers. And here's some other examples how it would go. And yeah, you would just do it like that until you have 6 there. Then when you roll the 6-sided die, that's where the monster will go. So you roll the die, let's say you get a 4, you go 4 here. So it goes and then there. And then if there's a monster there that can be attached to it as a material, as an exceed material, then it gets attached to it. And if it's an exceed monster, you get that exceed monster and all of its materials. And if you get 6 or more, then you win the game. Yeah, 6 or more exceed materials attached this way through this effect. So then you win the duel. So basically, the most effective way of using it is like if your opponent has a lot of exceed monsters with a lot of materials. And if you want to like win using it, roll the die and then hope that you get, depending on your placement, if you're smart about your placement, you could place it right here or right here, and then you can like reduce the amount of zones it is on your side, or you can even make it where it's more likely to land on your zone, since you could also do that and stack it with yours. So it's an interesting card, definitely interesting, gimmicky, but it is in a sense a form of removal that you can use. And yeah, seems pretty cool. I'm guessing once it lands on your opponent's side of the field, would that mean that it's under like their control now? Or does it just go back after the zone? So, because I'm guessing it lands on the zone, right? Yeah, move this card into the zone attached to the die result. And if it's on their side of the field, I guess they get a turn at it. Very interesting. It's a very weird card, and I want to know what you guys think about this card. I think it's fun to see it exist. It's kind of a confusing mechanic to explain and super gimmicky, but I do like when they add things like this. It's just, fun things to play around with. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about these cards. What did you think was your favorite out of them, and which do you think has the most potential? And yeah, we're close to 100 subs, guys. So if you guys enjoy this type of content, like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.